Thing I can think of is that came from Canada, because I called up our Coast Guard. They said, no, we don't want it. We don't know what it is. We know what it is, but we don't know the markings on it. They're not regulation. So I thought, well, it's got to come from Canada. So I got hold of them, and they looked at it and they said, oh, yeah, that's our design. It says we can build them for our use, but we don't build them for anyone else. And it says we don't recognize our markings, they're not regulation. So I thought, well, it must belong to a gas well or something. There's a lot of gas wells over on the other side of out in the lake. But they did send me a picture of a stack of them, probably about as tall as that garage here, and probably about as long as this extension right here, all stacked up on their sides, but they were all painted red. That would be for the port side, or the starboard side, I mean. No, port, what am I thinking of? Here. This is our old coal dock here. All that black you see out there, that's coal laying there, or the remains of coal. Now they could stack that up so high, and if you're standing here, you wouldn't see the lake, because there'd be so much coal piled up there.
So when did this cease operation?
Pardon?
When did this cease operation?
Year before last. Originally we had 2 coal dumpers. One about right where you see that black unit there, and then one on the other side of the river. There was one, and there was a third one for a short time. I never seen it. It was over here on the corner of that dock out at the far end there. But the coal comes up from southern Pennsylvania, West Virginia, southern Ohio. Because then by train over there, what I pointed out to you, it comes across this conveyor here. Then it goes onto this conveyor here. That goes up towards that blue machine that you see there. On the other side of it, there's another elevator that goes up. There's 3 silos there. There's one hid behind the other 2. And that's where they kind of use those as sort of a surge tank like. Because loading a ship, they can empty out them silos fairly fast. And in the meantime, this blue machine, there's an arm that you see it sticking out to the left. It extends out quite a little way. You can raise and lower it and swing it back and forth on either side of the tracks. And they can dump the coal out, or they can pick it up and bring it back onto the conveyor and send it on out to the silos. That's just a quick get around on it.
Enjoying the history lesson here.
They scraped all that up the last summer and got rid of all the coal there.
Well, what's going to be replacing coal if we're getting rid of it?
Well, due to our illustrious leader, who's doing away with these coal-fired plants. And now we're shutting down a lot of nuclear plants. So I don't know what we're going to be using for electric power in the more later years.
But that was the previous administration, right?
Trump, he's shutting down the, I think they got started on it. But now we got a generator right up here, nuclear up here by Paynesville. And I think they're going to be shutting that down.
What's that siren?
Oh, that's probably a lift bridge going up. You might want to get a shot of that. I'm going to move around here pretty good. Watch out, there's snowplow. Yeah, they ring a siren. Yeah, just go right over here. I didn't hear it, so it should be going up pretty quick if that was for the lift bridge. Yeah, it's for the lift bridge. It'll be moving up pretty quick. I see the gates are down. There it goes. It's going up now. I see we had a shipyard on up the river here, the built ships here. And this is the only way we could get them out was coming down this way here. That goes on up, oh, probably about another half mile or so to where the old shipyard was. You still see the dry dock. The dry dock is still there. But all the buildings, I think, is gone. It seemed to me someone said there one of the buildings up there is original. But it's mostly from here on up here. It's all pleasure craft and so forth. Now,
so most of the commercial is done?
Pardon?
Most of the commercial use?
Commercial use is about from the lift bridge down this way.
So just for that little boat that had to lift it, huh?
There's two 25 horsepower motors that lifts it up. That big white thing you see on the back end, a lot of people think that's one big solid cement block. It's not. It's hollow. They have steel plates in there. This bridge operates somewhat like a teeter-totter. That is a counterweight. Anytime they change the weight of that bridge by pavement or modifications or anything like that, they have to add or subtract weights in there. Like I say, it operates just like a teeter-totter. That's why it only takes two 25-horse motors to raise and lower that bridge. They almost lost it in the drink here some years back. They took it down and was loading it on a barge. They almost rolled it off the barge. Unfortunately, they didn't. The reason they closed this Coast Guard building down here is that conveyor there, it was open at the time, just like you see here at the end. So getting a lot of coal dust flying around there and everything. They was afraid you're going to give the coasties a black lung or something like that, so they shut it down, and we didn't have a Coast Guard here for a bit. And everyone put up a big squawk because the nearest Coast Guard would be either Cleveland or Erie. So that takes a while getting down here if you're out there hollering for help. You're sinking. So we got our coasties back. They're right down here. This red roof right here, right closest to us. That's the new Coast Guard building there. Those reddish brown piles you see over there is straight ahead of it, right there. That is iron ore. That's what they call taconite. That's made up of them little balls I was explaining to you earlier. The one to the right of it, that dark one, that's coal there. I'm pretty certain that is, because it's blacker than the taconite. Taconite's got a sort of a reddish color to it. That stuff over there is not sand, that is stone. Just same as this down here. This is stone. Clear on over there, you can see the boom of a crane sticking up above the conveyor belt there. See it over there? That is a crane where they unload the salties that comes in. The salty, by the way, is a ocean-going ship. Oh, lovely buzzards. But now there's when they unload a coal train, what they do is that if you notice the tracks going down along there, and then at the end they curve around and look over on the other side, that's the same train there. They can load it up with stone. You see some of the cars are already loaded up with stone, just waiting to be pulled out of here. That taconite over there, probably that is going to be bring a ship, smaller ship in, and they'll load it up, and they'll probably go down the St. Lawrence. Because over in Canada, along the St. Lawrence, they have a steel mill along there somewhere along the line. I don't know just which town, or it may be further on down. But about the longest ocean-going ship that can come up here, I think, if I recall rightly, is right around 530 foot, something like that. That was about the longest boat that can make this turn up here. You got these two turns here to make. Then it's pretty much straight from there on out.
This looks like all this was relatively new.
Pardon?
All this is pretty recent?
Yeah, this is real recent. It used to be just a grass path down through here with railroad ties for steps. Now this put in here last year or year before last, I think. I've never been all the way through that house. I just stepped in the door one time. Guy gave me a mantelpiece that he took out, and I made a shelf for the Marine Museum over here out of it. And we got a model of a ship, a lake boat.
You said that was a captain's house?
There used to be a captain's house. I just read not long ago what the captain's name was, but I can't recall.
A lot of history through here, huh?
Oh yeah. One time this area down through here had a terrible reputation because, talking about the Huletts, why didn't I think while we're right over here? I don't know if you're rushed to get home or...
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm just not saying much because I'm enjoying it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right over here. I'll give you an idea how big these Huletts were right after we see this. This will give you an idea of them. Don't show the Huletts here. There's a coal dumper right there. This is what they called an ore bridge. That went all the way across each dock. Each dock had one of those. They were pretty tall. So the last one was on this dock here. They tore down some years ago. In fact, the very last building that was on there, they dropped that down, see, about 7 or 8 years ago. It was just last. They generated DC power for them. They took so much electricity they couldn't bring power in. They had to generate their own. So each dock had a power plant to operate them. This is Point Park here. This is what you see right here. This used to be much bigger. When they put the dock in down here, they cut away a lot of this bank here, and that shortened it up. This used to go on out there quite a little bit. There used to be a big hotel that's sitting right in here. And then they had cannons set up in here too. If you give you an idea how long ago, you see the woman there with a long dress on. Your bridge, when they unloaded that ship, they had a bucket to come down, pick up the ore, then they could move it back any place across the dock that they wanted to. Whenever I get up here to go into the museum, we got a large table. It goes about from here over to that first cement pillar, and it's about, I'd say about 12 foot wide. And on it, we modeled that dock over there like it would have been back in its heyday with the Huletts and so forth. We got, see the four, I think it's 4 miniature Huletts. Speaking of Huletts, I wish they had a picture of that Hulett there. There's another one down here. Maybe that, I bet it's on there. There's only one Hulett to my knowledge in existence today. That's the last I knew was up there in Cleveland on Whiskey Island.
What a beautiful day to do something like this.
Pardon?
I said, what a beautiful day to do something
yeah.
like this.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for a nicer day. And, oh no, it's our lift bridge. Now I'll show you a little bit of a Hulett. Right there.
Wow.
That's just a wee bit of it. Now the operator sat up there in that window. We'll go around and go up the steps. Ah, here it is, here it is. This is what I want to show you. This is a Hulett. What you see right there, that's about this much of it. Now you have a better idea. They were huge. They were operated by DC Electric. These was developed by a man by the name of George Hulett. He used to live up there in Conneaut, right up the road here. There was the first one. Now the operator, he rode in this thing. While you're right here, you'll notice the back bucket is right directly in back. This bucket extends way out. Now, he drops down like this into the hold of the ship. And then when he goes to raise it up, these chains here pulls this bucket back, scraping, and then they slowly close like so. Then it'd come up out of the ship. Now, as he gets down into the hold of the ship, he's about this close either side of the hatch, so he has to be lined up exactly. You can't have his cocked a little bit one way or the other. Some guys, there's one guy, I guess he tried to lift the ship up. It didn't work. He broke the Huletts. They were out for quite some time repairing that. That's the operator's position. See, he's got a lot of room. You see, you don't have much to look back at, and there's not much you can see forward. You always operate with one arm hanging out a window. These levers here is what he used to operate this whole thing with. And from my understanding, I guess it took really years to become really proficient.
Well, how do you see what you're doing if you can't really look out?
You got one arm hanging out, you're looking out this way.
Wow. Amazing.
And the way you see here, this is the way he would get into it. That bucket, all it did is just pivoted is all. That's the only thing it did. This front, like I say, he would put it down, you see it's almost straight down. He could scrape along, scraping it up, then they would close and he'd come up. Go back, he'd dump it in what they called a Larry car, which would be directly underneath where his park position would be.
Amazing.
No, that's steel.
Oh
That's
my
steel.
gosh. Amazing the size of this thing, and you said it's only part of it.
Just a little bit of it.
Wow.
Just a little bit. They.
Well, those ships that are huge inside.
When he was up on, when he was back, going back and forth across the dock, he'd probably be up about as tall as that conveyor over there. And it would be on up above him. The operator would be at about that position when he come out of the ship. There's only 70 some of these made in the whole world.
I wonder.
They're all on the Great Lakes.
And you said one's left on Whiskey Island?
Yeah, they tore it down and they're saving it. Either one or two, I think it's just one. And they're talking about setting up alongside the ore boat they have up there in Cleveland. Now all that land you see, like I say, the river originally entered just about right where the old coasties are. All that is man-made, all those docks.
That's all dredged out and everything then, huh?
Nowadays the old sailing ships, they was all up and down along the river here. Our lighthouse is right there it is. Where you see it there?
Yeah.
That red building, red roof, say. At the top of the, where the light would have been, it's about 50 foot above the lake level. It's pretty good size. You don't realize how big it is till you get right by it. Years ago, I painted that stone there and put the number on it. I bet you that's been 10 years ago since I did that. That paint's sure been good. This buoy, the only thing I think of is that's come from a gas well or something like that up in Canada.
And what's this part of? Or
Now this first one right here, it looks terrible. But that was the very first electrically welded hull in the world. Welded by Lincoln Electric. It's in terrible shape now. They started restoring it, then we run out of money, and my helper went back to Pittsburgh, and I think he's dead now. It's all still there. It's undergone so many different modifications over the years. There's very little of it that's original. This is the ship's funnel air down into the ship. That's what it used to look like here.